and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The detachments of the National People's Army carried out searching operations in the forest of Wad al-Douar in the province of Skikda, which resulted in the capture of a terrorist group. Al-Jaish magazine highlights the enormous work of the National People's Army to rid the country of terrorist groups and their vile projects. The Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman chairs a government meeting to examine several points in the sectors agriculture, housing, finance, education, and micro-enterprises. The National People's Army carried out several operations that reflects their high professionalism, vigilance, and permanent availability. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, following the searching operations carried out by the detachments of the National People's Army in the forest of Wad al-Douar near the town of Beni Zid, Kulu, in the province of Skikda, the 5th Military Region, on March 16, 2022, an operation that resulted in the capture of 7 terrorists and the discovery of a body of another terrorist that was injured during the previous operation in February 19, 2022, as well as the recovery of 8 Kalashnikov type submachine guns, large quantities of ammunition, and various objects. The captured terrorists gave exclusive confessions detailing their criminal activities.
My position in the organization is a judge of the Islamic Maghreb countries. After my return from the East, I was appointed for the first time as Emir of the private secret organization of Abd al-Malik Droud Kal, and I was designated by Abu Ubaida Yusuf al-Annabi. The communication was based mainly between the Emir of the organization and al-Harbi Zaytot. I met another terrorist group in the city of Bunab Ali. This group was composed of several terrorists: Abu Suhaib, Shiblu, Ami Muhammad, called Boumhala. I participated in preparing a car bomb and detonating it near the police headquarters in the municipality of Maqla'. We targeted the owners of the security companies who were in charge of the security of the General Electricity Company. We were uncertain about the burial methods, especially after the bodies start decomposing.
In its latest issue, Al-Jaish magazine highlights the enormous work of the National People's Army to rid the country of terrorist groups and their vile projects to undermine the foundations of the state and its institutions. Leticia Sidqawi will tell us more.
In its latest issue, Al-Jaish magazine recalls the remarkable results achieved by detachments of the National People's Army in the fight against terrorism. The magazine recalled in this sense the recent operation carried out in the province of Skikda, which reflects the effectiveness of the approach adopted by the National People's Army in the fight against terrorism, the operational effectiveness of the elements of the National Armed Forces, and the firm will that drives them to eradicate the residues of terrorist groups. The visit of the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Saeed Shingriha, to the scene also reflects his desire to personally monitor on the ground the relentless efforts deployed by the elements of the National People's Army who fight valiantly against terrorist groups. Saeed Shingriha transmitted to them on this occasion the greetings of the President of the Republic, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, as well as his personal congratulations following this heroic operation. This is undoubtedly the result of an enormous amount of work which the National Armed Forces are constantly doing, a work completed by neutralizing the residues of terrorism and destructive ideas by flushing out traitors and the dirty work they engage in, stresses the magazine Al-Jaish. The National People's Army, the same source continues, is strong enough to not be undermined by such despicable attempts, orchestrated by misguided people who have chosen to engage clearly in subversive acts against our country and its institutions with the help of certain foreign powers, known for their proven hostility towards our country. Now the Algerian people are discovering the details of another plot hatched against our country from abroad. and orchestrated by a terrorist organization whose masterminds resort to vile methods and launch hostile campaigns reflecting a deep resentment towards Algeria and its people. It is in this sense that Al-Jaish magazine recalled the message of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, on the occasion of the commemoration of the anniversary of the death in the field of honor of martyrs Amirouche and Sil Hawass, and in which he reaffirmed that Algeria stands and holds its rank thanks to the resistance of its people and the solidity of its institutions, among which the National People's Army were the heir of the National Liberation Army, built in moments of extreme difficulty by Sami Roche and his companions of the national movement. The editorial of the magazine also assured that the High Command of the National People's Army will continue to ensure the development of the defense system of our armed forces, to guarantee permanent readiness and hasten their combat capabilities to the highest level, and surrounding them with everything that is likely to ensure the improvement of skills, to be able to repel any threat of whatever form and nature they may be, and defeat all traitors, enemies of Algeria.
The Prime Minister, Ayman bin Abdurrahman, chaired on Wednesday a government meeting to examine the following points. In the field of agriculture and rural development, a draft executive decree was presented for the manufacture, sale and control of veterinary medicines. This draft aims to examine the application for marketing authorization for medical products for veterinary use, studying requests for administrative authorizations for the manufacture and sale of veterinary medicines, the encouragement of the national production of medicines for veterinary use. In the housing sector, a draft executive decree was presented to widen the training periods required for obtaining approval and registration in the national list of architects. In the field of finance, a joint communication was presented by the ministers in charge of finance and housing relating to the creation of a financial institution dedicated to financing of housing following the instructions of the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune. In the field of vocational training and education, a communication was presented on the results of the activities of vocational training and education sector during the second half of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022. In the field of micro-enterprises, a presentation was made by the minister delegated to the Prime Minister in charge of micro-enterprises to ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of the microcredit management system. Detachments of the National People's Army carried out within the past week operations which led to quality results that reflect their high professionalism, vigilance and permanent availability across the national territory. More details with Manal Ammari.
Within the framework of the fight against terrorism, detachments of the National People's Army arrested 7 support elements for terrorist groups in distinct operations across the national territory. As part of the fight against organized crime and in continuity of the intense efforts aiming to thwart the scourge of drug trafficking in our country, combined detachments of the National People's Army in coordination with various security services at the level of the 2nd and 3rd military regions arrested 4 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce large quantities of drugs across the borders with Morocco, amounting to 8 quintals and 33 kilograms of cannabis, while 10 other drug traffickers were arrested with 4,862 psychotropic tablets in their possession during several operations carried out throughout the military regions. Furthermore, detachments of the National People's Army intercepted in Tamanrasset, Burj Baji Mukhtar, Ain Gizam, Janet and Tindouf 84 individuals and seized 1 Kalashnikov type submachine gun, ammunition, 14 vehicles, 104 generators, 62 pneumatic drills, 9 metal detectors, quantities of explosives and detonation tools, in addition to other equipment used in illicit gold mining operations, while 11 other individuals were apprehended and 4 hunting rifles and 20 quintals of tobacco were seized in El Wad, El Bouaqi and Khansha provinces. Within the same context, border guards thwarted attempts to smuggle large quantities of fuel amounting to 53,508 liters into Bissa, الطارف, سوق هراس and Burj Baji Bukhtar, while 265 illegal immigrants of different nationalities were arrested in Janet, Tlemcen, Ain Aminas and Ain Ghazan provinces.
The Spanish press indicated on Wednesday that the Spanish Parliament will vote on Thursday on a proposal submitted by 3 political blocs calling to correct the unilateral position of Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez concerning the conflict in Western Sahara. The Podiums and the Republican left of Catalonia parties, as well as the Basque Country gathering, submitted a position before the Chamber of Representatives in which they criticized Sanchez's one-sided position and called to correct the new official Spanish position while emphasizing the United Nations resolutions that favor the organization of a self-determination referendum of the Sahrawi people. The President of the Sahrawi Republic, Secretary General of the Polisario Front, Brahim Ghali, said on Tuesday during end of the proceedings of the Conference on Foreign Relations that the Sahrawi people knew through their heroic struggle to defeat the plans of the Moroccan occupation forces. Brahim Ghali added that the Moroccan occupying state is adopting the most deceptive methods, such as drug trafficking, supporting organized criminal gangs and terrorist groups to threaten peace and stability of the entire region. For her part, the Sahrawi human rights activist Aminatu Haidar underlined that the first person responsible for the suffering of the Sahrawi people was the Spanish government, which sided with the Moroccan occupier, denouncing the silence of the United Nations in the face of repeated violations of international law. And we wrap up our news edition with the launch on Tuesday of the National Television's Ramadan special chanting program, Hadi al-Arwah, with Rania al-Bahri.
12 contestants, harmonized with the strength of performance and the purity of their voices, were gathered in this Ramadan from various provinces of the country in the 7th edition of Hadi al-Arwah program. I cannot describe how happy I am to be here. We hope to meet the expectations of the audience. This edition will be very competitive, especially in performance. I'm happy to participate in this program. Hadi al-Arwah is a competitive religious program of the Algerian television that combines religious artistic impetus with singing techniques. Evaluation will be done based on the contestants' voices and their competences. We hope that this program will be among the leading programs in the Arab world. 4 primes will determine the winner among the contestants and their professors of this edition, aired by the Holy Quran channel of the Algerian television.
That was it for our news edition. Thank you for tuning in to our program. صحة صحوركم.